Hey friends, welcome to the Hughescast. This is episode 13, called The Blackberries. When he was still a small child, the world lost its mind, and he lied about his age to go into the army. I don't know at this great distance what led to that decision. He died before I knew to ask such questions, and he was never much for talking about his inner life anyway, so no one I ever could ask knew. It was the second decade of the last century, and the entire world was at war, and this teenage boy, always large for his age, would end up as a pilot, flying planes that had open cockpits and required scarves and goggles, and he would do things nobody should ever have to do, and would see things nobody in his hometown had ever dreamed about. Later, when the war was over, he would return to the States, travel with an air show for a while as a barnstormer, and eventually settle down in North Texas, marry my great-grandmother, and have some kids. My mother's father was his oldest son. He was a large man, about 6'5", barrel-chested and thick. He wore bibbed overalls and work shirts and had hands the size of canned hams. He was larger than life in so many ways, not just his size, and he captured all of my attention, with his cows and border collies and a 1946 pickup truck that he called Smooth Mouth that had lost both third gear and reverse, so driving it anywhere took some planning. He was my great-grandfather, but that was a mouthful for a young fellow like me, so I called him Biggin. We didn't really have money for vacations when I was a child, so we visited family instead. Every summer, around the 4th of July, we would make the 8-hour trip to North Texas and stay with my grandfather in that magical world where we milked cows in the morning and pickup trucks had names. On this summer day in 1976, my great-grandmother and I had been blackberry picking. We sprayed ourselves down with DEET to scare away the chiggers, and we took empty coffee cans and walked through the pasture to the fence row where the wild blackberries were rampant. It was there that we filled our cans in our mouths, and black juice ran down my face, and all the while she told me things I cannot remember. But the thing I do remember is how safe and loved I felt, and how lucky I must be to belong to people that owned both cows and blackberry bushes. I no longer recall, if I ever even knew, where she went that day, but she told Biggin that when she returned, she was going to make a blackberry cobbler with those berries for dessert. She was not gone for more than a handful of minutes when he called me into the kitchen. They lived in a tiny North Texas farmhouse with a utilitarian kitchen with cracked linoleum on the floor, a 1950s era Formica and stainless steel table, and an electric icebox in the corner that now contained, among other things, a 1-pound coffee can full of blackberries so full of goodness they were about to burst. Biggin put me at the table and put down 2 mismatched bowls, the porcelain glazing cracked and crazed from years of use. Mine had a faded rose on the bottom of the bowl. The coffee can of blackberries was retrieved from the icebox, and with his huge, rough, scarred hands he poured the blackberries from the can into my bowl and then his. The berries were of various sizes, the way wild berries always are, filling both our bowls to the edge, and then he poured the fresh cream we had gotten from his own cows that very morning over the top. Cream running over the berries, filling in the cracks and crevices until the berries looked very much like small blue-black islands in a sea of creamy white. We sat there, him and I, in a 4-room house in North Texas, 70 years and a Formica table between us, quietly eating the purloined blackberries. When she came back, there was going to be hell to pay, and no cobbler to eat. But for now, We were content to be together, eating our berries, certain in the knowledge that no king had ever had it so good. I'm Hugh Hollowell, and I've been your host today. To find out more about what I do, please visit hughhollowell.org. While you're there, drop me a line to let me know what you're up to or what you hope for. Y'all take care of each other, okay?